Hey y'all, welcome to Big Texas Bossin, the show that spills the Texas tea on bossing up, tossing coins, and living your biggest and best life on your own terms. I'm your host, Lalanii Wilson Jones.
It's time for Big Texas Bossin with Lalanii Wilson Jones. Spilling the tea on Bossin Up.
We're going to catch up with another Big Texas boss, Dennice Johnson, founder and visionary behind a booming and burgeoning Dallas-based business, Hyphen, a one-stop shop premier concierge service for all relocation needs. Hyphen is known for working with the NBA, NFL, and MLB whenever their players are part of a draft, trade, or free agency. Today, Dennice is joining us live in our Dallas studios to break down how she overcame countless obstacles to position her high-end relocation firm, Hyphen, as the Travelocity of moving for pro athletes with the Boston Celtics, New Orleans Saints, Cincinnati Bengals, Utah Jazz, Dallas Cowboys, and high net worth individuals. Welcome to Big Texas Bossin, Dennice.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm sure you know that failures and setbacks in entrepreneurship are actually very common. That the key to winning is never giving up. Today we'll discuss bringing your business vision without a blueprint. You are going to learn how to persevere, cultivate a team who encourages your aspirations, and how to bounce back from business dead ends, rejections, and failures. Dennice and I are going to share our single most important breakthrough moment, so be sure to listen all the way through to the end. Dennice, what can you share with us about how you came up with the idea for Hyphen?
So I was working for a brokerage firm here in Dallas, and I saw that there was a lot of money coming in, and I didn't feel like I was making a lot of money. And so I thought that there had to be a smarter, more efficient way of running the business. And so I kind of ventured off on by myself and tried to retain as many clients as possible by myself as well. And I started reaching out, cold calling, sending emails, and going to charity events and starting to just organically build a rapport with the clients. And then after that, I started creating an app for Hyphen so that I could streamline all of the relocation process. So that means that we take care of their real estate, their car shipping, their moving needs. Anytime that they find themselves having to relocate because they got traded, drafted, released, we work with the NBA, the NFL, MLB. They'll give us a call and we kind of take care of everything for them. And so I have found a way to make it faster versus having to deal with, them having to cold call a moving company and then call a car shipper and then call a broker and then a realtor. So I do all of those things in-house. And that's kind of what sets me apart from everyone else.
Okay, so you're a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop,
That's
girl.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
So they can get it. They can get it all. How was Hyphen born? And who put the right people in your place? How did things fall into place for you so you could evolve into what you've evolved into?
I don't think that there was an actual blueprint for how it kind of came about. I think that I've just been blessed enough that God has put all of these people in my life. I met, not even a year and a half ago, I met this guy named Teron Armstead. He plays for the New Orleans Saints. He's on the O-line. And he's a client of mine. I shipped a car for him and he was like, this is such a great service. Why doesn't everybody know about it? Well, lo and behold, he put me in front of the Saints. And then that's how I got the Saints as a team, Okay. And so he started calling teammates and other friends. And then he eventually also made a phone call for me where he called a billionaire that lives here in Dallas, won't mention his name, but he was one of the first billionaires that I sat down with, and he kind of started to put little nuggets in my head where hey, you can scale your business this way or you can go that way. And so, like I said, I've just been very blessed to meet all of the right people, and they've all been very kind to me in regards to my business. So I'm thankful for that.
Right. That is absolutely fantastic. Was it Mark Cuban?
No, it wasn't Mark Cuban, but I'm waiting on his call, girl. I'm waiting on his call.
We know that he is generous in the Dallas community.
Yes, I think it would be great for him.
I just had to throw it out there because
it
could have been him. And if you gave it up, fine. If you didn't, it was fine too. As a serial entrepreneur with several businesses, I can personally attest to the fact that while there are bumps and bruises and trials and errors that build character, they can certainly try a sister's wherewithal and at times cause you to question yourself. What are some of the things that happened to you along the way that made you think of giving up? How did you overcome that thought? And what made you know you could stay the course? And what did you do at your breaking point?
Listen, is
Tell
this
us
a
the tea on the
6-hour
breaking point.
podcast?
Right,
Is this a 6-hour podcast? No, I've had a lot of failures, right? So like I said, the Hyphen App is going to come out in 2 to 3 weeks, mid-May. We failed 3 times. I've been working on the app for 4 years. So every single time that I would have a conversation with a friend, a colleague, it was always, is the app done? And I'm like, you know, and I met one developer and I failed. And then I got another developer in California and I failed again. You know, it wasn't until I got my third one, you know, third time's the charm, that I finally got the app to work. And it's now what I'm proud to release, you know, 2 weeks from now. I've also had several times where, you know, we've made our calls to teams, or we've talked to players and they haven't been the most gracious. They haven't been the most nice sometimes, you know. So just dealing with rejection at every corner, and then saying, you know what, that's fine. I'm just going to keep going. It's going to be fine. I had, there was this player that was out to eat, and I knew that he was going to have to relocate. He was not going to play for the Dallas Cowboys anymore. And I approached him and I was like, hey, I know that you're going to be moving soon. So do you mind if I leave my card here with you? And he looked at me and he was like, don't you see that I'm eating? And I was like, yep, I'll just take this card back. And, you know, all the blood rushed to my face and I was embarrassed, and I still had to go home and say, you know what, tomorrow's a new day and I'm going to keep going, you know? And so I think that it's about being tenacious in that and not giving up and seeing the vision, the long-term vision, and not getting discouraged by the, you know, little bumps and bruises that you know, the obstacles and hurdles that you hit along the way. So just keeping your eye on the prize, I think, is the main goal.
Right. What would you say, because it's a man's world, so to speak, that you're dealing in? So as a Black female, how has that been for you as far as approachability? Because, you know, everyone says that when people get to the league, and all of these leagues, that they change. You know, they forgot that they grew up on grits and cornbread at Big Mama's house.
Okay.
And so now we're in the Millionaire and Billionaires Club. How do they treat you as far as being a woman of color coming to them? Does that make a difference? Do you have contracts with the New Orleans Saints where the corporate office, they call and say, hey, this is our go-to girl? Or is that somebody on the side office hustling your business?
We got a little bit of both. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. We got a little bit of both. We got the guys that are on the side. We got the people under the table. And then we also deal directly with, you know, basketball operations managers, director of football operations. You know, we've dealt with over 30 teams, over 200 players.
Wow.
I think that, you know, we've got a little bit of everybody kind of helping push us in the right direction, you know?
Good. Do you find male chauvinism or prejudice?
I think it's difficult to infiltrate the sports industry in general as a woman. You know, women's sports probably aren't watched as much as men's sports and stuff like that. Even the pay is different and stuff. So I think that it has been difficult at times to, you know, push through those barriers of, like, I'm a woman, and then on top of that, I'm also a minority, right? And like you said, so a lot of these players, you know, they get all of these millions of dollars and sometimes forget where they come from. So I think whenever we as a team, as Hyphen, we come in and try to build a rapport with them where we let them know that they're like family. You don't have to come in, you know, showing off and being pretentious or being nasty. You know, we try to lead with love and kindness and try to just show them, like, hey, look, I'm probably your peer. I'm around your age. I'm 33. And I'm here to help you. So, like, if you want someone to help you, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So be nice, be kind. And we've had people where we've just kind of said, you know what, we're going to decline to do business with you in the future. You know, and sometimes I think that that's important too in business, is setting boundaries, because all money is not good money, you know?
Absolutely. So. And you're not a bad looking chick. So how do the wives take that when they see you coming to talk about we moving, honey?
Well, that's a really good question. Well, I'm currently married to a player myself, so I think that kind of diffuses a lot.
Okay,
it diffuses a lot for a lot of women, and also I think that the way that you move in this industry is important. So let's say that I wasn't married into, you know, the NFL world, or married to my husband. I think that prior to me marrying him, I was still doing this business. I've been doing this for 8 years, you know, and I've only been married for 4.
Okay.
So prior to my getting married, I made sure that whenever there was a guy that was relocating that was married, I always spoke to the wife first. Okay. If the husband asked for my number, I would ask for the agent's number. I can talk to your agent to get this done. I can talk to your wife. I can talk to your assistants. You and I don't need to have a conversation. I don't need to have a conversation with the player to get the job done, to find you a house, ship your car, ship your belongings. It's all about the business. And I think that that's what kind of sets me apart from a lot of other companies, is that I'm very much so business. And it kind of has hurt me as well, because me having done this for 8 years and worked with over 200 players, like, I never was the girl that was like, can I get a picture with you? Can I get a testimonial? I was very proud and ego driven in that I wanted to make sure that I just did the work and I got out of there, And then it was difficult for me, now that we live in this social media driven life, to say, well, I did work with so-and-so. Right. He does play with LeBron. How was I supposed to prove that kind of stuff? So, I'm trying to be better about that now. That's my own constructive criticism for myself. But yeah, it has been difficult. And I think it's all about how you move in this business, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about some of the things that disappointed you, maybe in the beginning, maybe your broker's exam. Or
Absolutely,
something like that,
yes.
Where you saw that as a Did you see it as a distraction or a hurdle? Or let's talk about that and how you overcame that point.
So I had to get my broker's license in order to facilitate so many different transactions, whether they're real estate transactions or just the car shipments or dealing with different carriers, because sometimes I'm moving for Rolls Royces and it's like huge liabilities, and you have to have like all of this stuff in place, whether it's insurance and all kinds of bonds and stuff like that. I feel like it was disappointing, and maybe not a distraction. I think it was more so a disappointment because I struggled to get the broker's license. I failed to get my broker's license. I failed twice to get my real estate license. Okay. I think I get tester's anxiety a little bit. I don't know. Just being a little human.
So. It's not uncommon in all industries. I know people who've taken the bar 3 times.
Yes. One of my best friends.
It happens.
Same. Yeah. So it happens. And so I think when I failed the first time, I drove to my dad's house and I pulled into the driveway, and he came outside and he was like, "Hey, you gonna get out the car?" And I instantly started crying.
Oh,
and
you had a meltdown.
I had a meltdown because you're like, I gotta get bonded, I gotta get licensed, I gotta get insured, and then I got 10 vendors and I got all these teams that are like counting on me, and all these players that are about to get relocated. It's hundreds of guys, and just feeling like the weight of the world on my shoulders because like, I think legacy-wise, like I want my son to look at me, 5-10 years from now and say, my mom was a badass, and my mom did it, and my mom was, relentless in everything that she did, and she didn't give up, and so I just, it was sad, it was disappointing, but once I got it, I think that I valued it more so, yeah.
Okay, that is awesome. Let's talk about the rejections that came.
Ooh. Which ones, girl? I got which ones? No, I've had several rejections. Like I said, the broker's license, the app failing several times, and even in my like cold calling a lot of people, like just kind of trying to share my vision with the world. Not everybody's saying that's an amazing idea. And me still having to get up in the morning and say, well, I think it is, so I'm going to keep going, not needing everyone's, reassurance, and words of affirmation for me to move past the rejection.
Absolutely. Who's your competition?
Okay, so in the relocation business, there's 3 total companies in the entire country that do what we do. One of them is not necessarily my competition. He's kind of in his own lane. He does like private jets and like yachts and vacation homes. And so that's not really my wheelhouse. Like that, I'm trying to deal with the everyday moves, And so outside of that, there's 2 other ones. There's one in Dallas and then there's one in California. And they're both great, actually. They really are. They're both great. So I can't say anything about them. But I will say that out of all 3 of the other relocation companies, no shade, the one thing that is going to, and that's a lot of shade, the only thing that's going to set me apart is the app coming out. Nobody has an app that is like going to streamline everything. It's really going to disrupt the relocation and moving business. And I know that for a fact because I already got co-signed by 2 billionaires. Okay. And they're not billionaires, just cause. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I know I'm on the right track for sure.
Okay. That's awesome. Tell us about the importance of women building something for themselves, even as a player's wife. You discussed that you were a player's wife, and, obviously you don't have to build your business, build your empire, but you've elected to. Mm-hmm. And that's something that you don't necessarily see an abundance of people in the leagues, their wives doing.
Right.
So what sets you apart, and why is this important to you and to your legacy, your son that you mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. So this might be in the past 2 years of my making sure that I build Hyphen's name and brand. This might be the first time that I think I've ever mentioned that I am married. I have never, because I think that it's, and even when I'm calling these teams and I'm speaking to them directly, I don't mention his name. I try to steer away from that because I'm pretty sure that I've worked with over 30 teams, but we got to think there's about 60 plus. I could have made a call and had all 60 plus had I said who I'm married to. And I don't want my merit to be so closely aligned with my husband's because he's really accomplished. He's a philanthropist. He's a great player. He's an over the top real figure, right? And so I just want to create a lane for myself. And I remember him mentioning that, prior to him retiring, one of the things that he had said was like, I'm looking forward to the day where I can root for you. Because I've been in the stands and I've been in the locker room and I've been in the gym and I've done all these things with him. And so hearing him say like, it'll finally be my turn to be in the shadows and get to encourage you, that was powerful for me. And then also the power that I found in that was that I want, our children to see that mom can do it, right? Okay. Without dad. And that, she's doing it on her own, and it hasn't been easy. Like I said, like we've had several failures, and then I think 6 months after I launched, I was under. Like I wasn't profitable, and instead, it takes time. Right. And I probably could have washed my hands of the situation, but I still didn't. And so I think that in building a legacy, it's just putting one foot in front of the other and saying, I'm just not going to give up. I have to keep doing it. That is the legacy.
Right. Well, March is National Women's History Month, so I certainly hope that you did something in appreciation of yourself and realize the trailblazing foundation that you're setting in an industry where it's only 3 in the competition. That speaks volumes to even have the audacity to go in the industry.
Come on, the audacity. We woke up with the audacity today, women. That's what we did.
Right. Yes. Right. Are you the only female-owned organization, or the other 2 owned by females?
We're the only female-owned and minority-owned. And we are, I want to say, a few weeks away from getting our certification for women and minority-owned, which, let me tell you, that was a really, really long process.
That's hard. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, a lot of paperwork. It's very invasive, but I think it's worth it because it's going to allow for us to start bidding on government jobs and stuff like that, because we're wanting to expand so that we can bid on corporate relocations, because I feel like I'm kind of doing, entertainers and players, but I haven't done corporate enough. Like Toyota came to Dallas. Why didn't I get them? Right. Uber coming to Texas, Facebook, Amazon, a lot of the major corporations are here. I should be getting all of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're based here. You need the business here. Yes, I definitely agree with you. How do you apply? Are you the only marketer, or in your company, do you have marketers that work for you?
You know what? We do everything ourselves. I'm not gonna lie to you. We laugh sometimes because there's so many different hats, and I'm sure that you can relate. And speaking of hats, this is big Texas energy right here.
That's the hat. That's the hat.
Big Texas energy. Right. I love it. But no, as an entrepreneur, you just wear so many different hats where you're just okay, today we're going to figure out social media. And then tomorrow we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to reconcile the books. And then after that, you know what I'm saying? Then we're going to send these emails and we're going to cold call. And then we're also going to do the moves ourselves. My assistant Jasmine and I were laughing because we went to a car shipment for an NFL player, and we were just going to go to take a picture because it happened to be in Texas. And so we were like, we're going to do a better job at social media, right? So we get there, and Let me tell you, when we left, our upper lip was sweating. Our edges had curled. It was
wasn't working.
No, it was a whole situation. Like, we got there, he pulls the car up, and the car turns off. And we were like, what? This is a Porsche. Like, why is it? He's like, I don't know why it's not starting. And so I physically pushed the car into the trailer and then drove the other car in there. When I left, I was like, I'm musty. It's a whole situation. And
it was too much.
It was too much. Girl, by the time we got the pictures, I was like, oh my gosh. And so he was like, well, when I get to the Chicago Bears, I'm going to tell everybody about you. And I was like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
I've earned that.
I've earned that, you know? And so I think that, like, you know, to answer one of your previous questions, that's kind of what sets us apart, is that we really show these guys, like, we're going to get it done.
Right.
We're girls. And the driver of the big carrier was a woman.
Oh, wow.
You know, so that was a really beautiful moment for me, not only for me and my assistant to be women-owned, operated, minority, but the driver was also a minority. And it was great. But yeah. To answer your question.
That is awesome. So if one of your NBA players got traded down and then went overseas, could you relocate them overseas?
Yes. We have a few players that play
worldwide.
Overseas. Worldwide.
Okay.
Worldwide. Is that Pitbull? We're worldwide like Pitbull.
Right. He is, and that's awesome.
Yes.
And that's important for people to know you aren't restricted to the continental U.S. That is good. What else should we know about that app? I'm excited. I want to see it.
Listen, you should be.
Is it free?
It is free.
Okay.
It is free. It is free. To the masses, it's free. Just to kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown. So I say that Hyphen is like the Travelocity of moving. Essentially, when you book a flight because you want to go to Miami or you want to go to Cabo, you might go to Travelocity or Orbitz or, you know, and you put where you're going, you get flights from Delta, United, Virgin, Southwest. You get all these options, right?
Right.
So let's say that you're relocating and you're leaving here and you're going to go to California. Well, what you would do is you'd input that information into the app, and then all of my vendors would then send you their bids. So if you're in a hurry, you'll get it done for a few $1,000s. But if you can wait a few days, like, it'll drop dramatically. So I'm giving you different prices for your needs.
So you get price points on it.
Different price points for your car shipping, your moving, and for your real estate. And I have brokers in every major city that I have, arrangements with. And then I also have over 10 vendors that I work with that are amazing. So you will be able to literally pull your cell phone out, scan the VIN number, and then be able to ship your car within a day with my app.
Oh, wow.
And the best part about it, I think, is that it's going to encrypt your email and your phone number so that we can protect your privacy and your peace of mind, because that's huge for these players.
Right,
you'll be able to text, FaceTime, do contracts and everything all through the app, and make payments as well. So, and then if you ever just need to, like, you're leaving another team and going to another city, you can go to your past relocation, tap it, and then just switch the cities, and then we're good to go. Like, when I tell you I have blood, sweat, tears, crying in the shower, in the corner, fetal position, like, for real, lost a lot of sleep, called God on his cell phone and been like, hey, did you not get my prayer? Because I called a little bit ago. And he's like, yeah, I'm getting to you. It's just a lot of people that have been calling. Like, I'm probably going to cry tears of joy mid-May.
Right.
I am.
That is fantastic. So it definitely handles the logistics of it.
Yes.
What about if I want a new house?
You can do that. You can do that. You could tell me, I want to buy a house, Dennice, in Florida or in Miami, and you put 4 bedrooms, 1 million to 3 million, submit. The 2 brokers that I have in Miami are going to start sending you options through the app.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That is fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. So how are you maintaining your external relationships to be able to provide fluid services for your clients?
Oof.
Because sound like you networking. I don't understand how you have time to build a business.
I don't have time.
All over the world.
Well, so one of the 2 billionaires that I spoke to had a really good suggestion. He said that in order for me to scale my business and become successful, I'm going to have to stop wearing all the hats that I previously mentioned. That I'm going to have to start to kind of hand a few things off. I used to do every relocation in my business, every single one. Somebody moved. Yes, like, I'm calling and I'm not sleeping. I'm crying. I'm losing weight. I'm showing up to the relocations. I'm pushing cars. I'm packing boxes. I'm labeling boxes, and I'm fortunate enough to have found the right vendors and team players where now if something comes in, I'm like, here you go, and I'm just handing them off.
Because you've already vetted them through your years of sweat and
they're
tears.
they're like baby Denises.
Okay.
They are
so you're comfortable
OCD,
with that.
meticulous. I don't feel like I have to hover over them to like micromanage them. They're great. And so with my vendors in place, I can kind of take a back seat and still have a personal life and still be a mother and still be social. And then also, what I'm better at is I can sell salt to a slug. So what I do is I make the phone calls and I'm selling Hyphen, So for the teams that have not hopped on board yet, I'm making the cold calls. And hey, when can I stop by? When can I meet you guys? I'm not selling Gucci purses here.
Right.
I'm selling something you guys need and you use every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, for the average Joe Blow, can they afford your services?
Yeah. And I know that was timid. Everyone can afford our services. No, it depends. It depends. Like I said, I made sure that I structured the app properly so that my demographic is players and celebrities, but I also made sure that I had vendors towards the bottom, and by bottom, it's not negative, but bottom as in cheaper, right? Because I've had rookies before that'll call and say, Dennice, like I don't have $10,000 to relocate to California. Okay, well, if you can give me 2 weeks, we can maybe get it down to like 3,000. But you're still relocating cross country, so you still got to give me the things that you have to factor in, like mileage, labor, gas, packing and shipping materials. Like even if you were paying $1 per mile, you're still going to pay over $2,000 or $3,000. So kind of compartmentalizing that for these guys, and then making sure that I have all of the right vendors in place for my rookies and also for my vets. Like, I think everybody should be able to afford it. We actually did, a few residential moves the other day. And, we had a girl move from Texas to California, and her move, I want to say, was like $4,000. So,
I think that's reasonable.
I feel like it was reasonable. But, but we did everything that we could to make sure. Yeah.
Right.
Packed
so
up
if I'm
everything.
a CEO of a small hospital or a hospital administrator and I get reassigned to New York, you all can move me.
We got you.
Okay.
We got you. We're here to do it.
That sounds wonderful. And if I want to buy another house, you all can help me.
Yes, ma'am.
With the selling of my current.
Yes. Sell, buy, lease. You want a modern house, traditional house? We got you.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
That is wonderful. You all are the bomb. I can't wait for your app to drop. I'll definitely be downloading and playing with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. So when Hyphen comes, I can't wait.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate you being on today, and we do have a gift for you.
Yay. I love gifts.
Yeah, we've got a sugar box. I'm a author and co-author. My co-author is here, Travion Davenport.
Yes.
Our book is called Sugar Mama.
Trey'sTheBomb.com too. Come on.
She is.
Sugar Mama.
Is. So this is our book.
Okay.
That's been out. We think it's a New York Times bestseller.
Come
they
on.
don't know it yet.
They finna know it. Come on now. Yes.
Little bookmark and the keepsake box.
And she who laughs last laughs best. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to welcome my very special guest today, author, motivational speaker, and fellow fashionista, Akia Brown. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
Awesome. Akia is joining us from Atlanta today, but she hails from the Motor City. It was there that she started a very successful real estate rehab and property management empire, where she met the love of her life and the main topic of her salacious memoir, Beyond Love. On this episode of Big Texas Bossin, we're going to get into the details of open marriage, sister wives, and non-traditional relationships. Are you ready to get started, Miss Akia?
I stay ready. I live it every day.
Awesome. I love it. All right. Let's talk about your journey from teen mom to street hustler to college-educated entrepreneur who fell in love with the big-time hood boss and built a life of unfathomable love in spite of being in an open marriage.
Ooh.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Give us the tea.
Well, I mean, I was 15. I had a baby early in high school. Through my journey, Of course, I was trying to survive and take care of my son. Being 15, working at McDonald's wasn't cutting it for what I wanted for my son.
Absolutely.
So I started hustling. I got in a credit card ring. Actually, I was running the ring. Got into a little trouble, but I made it through there. I graduated. I went to school, graduated a year early with honors. Then I started going to community college. From there, I went to the university, and that while I was at the university is when I met Brian, which is my husband today. Graduated from there, and I started my own business, and it's just been going up, up, up ever since.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. How did you meet Brian?
I met him at a car wash. I was a little hood. I mean, it's still in me. I'm from Detroit. So my nickname in the hood was Nigga What, because that's just how I used to carry niggas. Like, nigga, what you want? You can't do nothing for me. I got my own. And I had it on my license plate. And him and his cousin, his uncle, were at the car wash. And they were like, nigga, what? Like, what your license plate say? Is that your nigga car? And I was like, no. And I was offended because I'm like, I'm nigga what? What you mean? Who is nigga what? And they were cracking jokes at me, and it was funny to them, but at the time it wasn't funny to me.
Right.
So,
well, set the scene for us. What kind of car did you have, nigga? What license plate on?
It was 1998, and I had a 1998 candy apple red Cadillac Eldorado.
Oh yeah, you were bossed up.
Yeah, I had nigga what on both my doors, and at the time I was only 22 years old, so. Yeah, I was a little bossed up for my time.
Right, I understand. I had my first Cadillac at 23, so I do understand. It's something special about us Cadillac girls.
Yes.
All right, well, talk to us a little bit about your non-traditional relationship and how all of that evolved for you all as a couple, or was that what that was from the beginning? Tell us, give us the tea.
It was not that at the beginning. I was the crazy baby mama busting out car windows, flattening tires. Yeah, I was that girl. But when I met my husband, I had realized by the time I met him, I had 2 kids. So I had been in 2 different relationships. And I had realized that the only thing that was missing in the relationship that I wanted was honesty. So when I met Brian, I basically told him, like, I just want a nigga that's going to be honest with me. Let me decide if I can deal with it.
Right.
And he honestly gave me that honesty. Now, in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't with it. I was like, you was at the concert with who? Like, who is she? You got a baby on the way. Like, I was not with it at all. But it's something that I grew to evolve in. And actually, I'm loving it. I'm living my best life. It kills the shock factor that a lot of women deal with on a daily basis, because a lot of times it don't even be the action that the man creates or the intimacy that was between a man and a woman that causes the issue. It's the fact of how they find out, who else knows, the embarrassment of them, being the last to know, that really kills the relationship. And, when you have an open and honest marriage and your partner is honest with you, you don't have those. A girl can come up to me any day, like I just seen, Peanut at the titty bar with such and such. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I know her. She trying to be a future wife-in-law. And you know what I'm saying? That's it. It ain't nothing.
Right. So tell us about how future wives come into the fold and they deal with you. What is that all about? Like the first meeting, greeting, or is it the phone conversations, or do you nigger what them?
No, a lot of times they come in a relationship not believing. He'll FaceTime me and be like, hey, babe, this is my friend such and such. She trying to be a wife-in-law. And they'll be like, that ain't your wife. That can't be your wife. I'm like, yeah, I'm his wife. And they be like, so you must be miserable. He'd be like, no, I'm happily married. Believe me, I'm happily married with multiple wives. Like, and you know what I'm saying? I don't got no secrets. You can ask my wife anything. And, some of them get on the phone and be like, so you legally married? Like, you okay with him dating other women? And I tell them, like, yeah, I'm not tripping. Like, that's just how we live. I understand that he has intimate, loving relationships with other women, and it's okay. it don't bother me because I'm secure in the woman that I am. And I know that he ain't going nowhere.
The most important thing. He ain't going nowhere. All right. Talk to us about the relationships between you and them after they become a wife. How do you become a wife?
It takes, with Brian to become a wife, it takes time, trials, tribulations, tests, all type of things. But basically, you know, when he notices that it's something in you that's touched his soul, that he feel that he needs to be there for you, to provide, to protect, you know what I'm saying, to honor you as a woman, and he devotes himself to you, then, you know, that's how they develop. Sometimes it just be women just really needing to be really loved. Sometimes it could be women coming from broken homes, you know, that's looking for a father figure like in their life, and you know, he shows them what a real man is. Okay. It be different, you know, various aspects of how the women become wife-in-laws, but you know, first and foremost, they got to understand and respect the relationship that he and I have, and understand what it is. Like, just because I'm dealing with you and just because we engaging and I'm loving you doesn't mean that I'm gonna leave my wife for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. His favorite little saying right now is like, you know what I'm saying? I never trade a dime for a penny, but I add a bunch of dimes to them.
Okay. What is your relationship like with the other wife-in-laws?
Well, right now we're all cordial. Some of them I get along with better than others, of course. Okay. That's just human nature. You know, you're not going to get along with everybody that you meet in your life. You know, your girlfriends might have girlfriends that you don't dig with, but that's not going to make her less of your girlfriend. Right. So, you know, that's basically how it is. Really, it really depends on the woman, because I'm very open. You know, I'm very open. I'm very honest. You know, I'm a woman, so I have, you know, I feel empathy and everything. So, you know, I understand coming from a woman that, you know, sometimes it could be like they can't really get into it. They'll come into it saying that they with it and they understand it and they about that life. But then once you in it, it's a whole different situation. And sometimes women, like one of my wife-in-laws in the beginning, she couldn't deal with that, you know, but she's grown now and, you know, she knows what it is. Okay. One of them is struggling to deal with it, but she's getting it, you know, she coming to the reality of, you know, he not going to just stop at me or stop at them when he dealing with other women. Gotcha. But as far as us, like, I really get along with them cordial enough, you know, cause so all our kids can know each other. Like, we can be in the same room. It ain't gonna be no fighting or nothing like that. Right. So are there family reunions or holiday feasts, or how does everybody come together? It's not, I don't know if I blanked out or not, but like on some holidays, like for our 4th of July, we do an annual Fila and fireworks event at our grandmother's house. And it's like a big block party, and you know, everybody is welcome. I've had all the kids for Christmas. You know, it just depends. It just, you know, depending on what's going on, what they mamas got planned for them or whatever. But everybody is always, you know, welcome to be together, and you know, it's not a, well, I don't want her around, or you know what I'm saying, I don't want them kids around my kids. It's never a situation like that. Like, I love all the kids, and you know, they always welcome at my house. And like I said, we've spent holidays together. Although me and Brian, majority of the holidays, me and Brian spend together at our home in Atlanta with our kids. That's just something that we had in place since the day one. Yeah. Got it. So have you ever been in your feelings about any of the wife-in-laws? And I understand that they may come and go, but a little birdie told me that there was a celebrity wife-in-law. Yeah, it was
And I want to know how you felt about Charlie Baltimore. Were there any issues? Were you ever intimidated by her success? And did you think you were going to give up the throne?
Oh, no, I ain't never giving up the throne. Ain't a girl on this earth that bad. I'm sorry. I'm not giving up the throne. And no, I was never intimidated by Charlie or her celebrity status or nothing like that because, I mean, like I said, I'm secure in my woman and who I am. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, her hair was pretty as hell. You know, she like mixed. She got really long, beautiful hair. You know what I'm saying? And she was little as hell. But, you know, I think I'm a bad bitch too, you know, so that's just what it is.
Right.
Plus, you know what I'm saying? I know my worth. And I know that I love my husband for who he is, like not what he can do for me, not what stage he can put me on, not, you know what I'm saying, what advancements in my career that he can get me. Like, I love him for him, hot dick and all. So, you know what I'm saying? With Charlie, that ain't what she loved about him. Like, she loved him after she got to know him.
But you don't think she would have ran a mile or a half a mile through a prison yard to get to him?
Hell no. I don't think she would have did it. Nah, I don't think Charlie would have did it. I don't think she would have did it, but I will say that I feel like she did have some genuine love for him after she met him. You know,
he had to grow on her as a person.
Basically. Yeah, it's a difference when meeting somebody, dating them, and falling in love with them for who they are versus seeing from the outside of what this person could possibly do in your life. It's a difference.
Right, absolutely.
And that's basically how she came in.
Okay. And did she exit the same way?
Yeah, she exited with them unrealistic expectations that the cheating or the infidelity or whatever she wanted to call it was going to stop with her. Because she felt like when he dealt with other women, it was cheating. And I'm like, how could you feel like that he cheating on you? You know what I'm saying? With another female. I mean, so you must feel like he cheating on me with you. And that's not this, you know what I'm saying? That's not the situation.
Right.
It's, you know, he open, he honest, he tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to deal with women. Like, and it's not just my wife. It's not just you. It's not just my other wives. Like, I'm going to deal with women because that's just what I do.
Right. That's
anytime God put one in my, you know, and they catch my soul, then if they penetrate his soul, he gonna investigate and see why. And
absolutely.
That's just what he gonna do.
All right. So do the Browns have friends that do the same things?
We got friends that do the same things. I don't know about them being as open and honest as we are, but yeah, it's a couple of them friends that be doing the same thing. Okay.
And you all socialize with them. Good. Let me ask the reverse question. Is there a husband-in-law? Is that acceptable?
Brian says it is acceptable as long as it's communicated.
Okay.
I haven't been with another man in it's been 23 years we've been together now. So no, I haven't been with another man in 23 years. One of my wife-in-laws have dipped off before, and how'd
that work out for her?
It didn't work out too well because she didn't communicate it. So it wasn't open. She snuck and did it. So when he found out, it was an issue. But you know what I'm saying? He said, if you wasn't happy and I wasn't providing you with what you needed me to provide you with, you should have just been honest and said it. And then, you know, we could have worked it out. But you lying about it and, you know, not disclosing it, yeah, it became a problem. Oh, yeah, call him and tell him I'm on the podcast.
Got it. Well, I mean, it sounds like you all have found a way to blend everything and definitely make it work for you all. Let's talk about your memoir, Beyond Love.
Yes. So my memoir, Beyond Love, was basically a true story of my life. And it basically talked about how, you know, me being a teenage mom, how I met my husband, how I overcame the obstacles into becoming okay with, you know, being in an open marriage, and how I became one with myself and understood, you know, my worth. It also gives some salacious tales about how we made 2 of our kids in prison.
Oh, wow.
It tells about how I did run into the federal penitentiary a few times, and through the cornfields to see
So
my
what was that
husband.
like for you? What were your thoughts running through a cornfield in the middle of the night and not necessarily, especially the first time, knowing your way? What was that? Like, was that pure love is what I'm thinking, but...
Listen, it was beyond love. At the time, I didn't think about nothing. The only thing I thought about was getting to my husband.
But you weren't worried about getting caught and becoming a federal prisoner yourself?
Nope. The only thing I was worried about was how I was going to explain it to my mama and daddy if I got caught. I didn't care about nothing else. That's the only thought that went through my head. And now, almost 12 years later, in hindsight, I look at it like I was crazy to the mug. Like, I can't believe I risked it all. I was going to be on national news, but it didn't matter at the time because I was just running off love.
Wow, that's something. And what would you want us to take away from your memoir, or what is the most important thing in your memoir to you?
The most important thing in my memoir that I would want readers to take away is to just be honest with yourself. And don't lose the love of your life worried about what the next person think of your relationship or how, you and that person is engaging, whether you're in an open marriage, whether, you know what I'm saying? If it's open on either side, it shouldn't matter what everybody else thinks. As long as you're happy, that's all that should matter.
Right. And it sounds like you've been happy for 23 years.
Yes.
All right. What's next for
butterflies.
you? Right. What's next for you?
I'm beginning to work on my book called Beyond Motherhood. And it's basically going to explain to women how to deal with blended families and, more so on the women, getting over their anger or their bitterness with their baby's father or their ex-husband, and just being able to co-parent in a happy way and show the kids nothing but love. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's all about the kids, their future, their happiness. But you can't raise a loving child showing them nothing but hate and anger.
Right, yes. Right. Good point. Good point. Well taken. Okay, we promised we were digging into non-traditional, so I need your best tip for anybody interested or even exploring trying to be in an open marriage.
The best tip that I can give somebody who wants to be in an open marriage is to be honest with yourself first. Before you even open that door, be honest with yourself first and ask yourself, can you really deal with it? Because you can say you can deal with it and deep down in your heart, like, that is not for you. Like, you cannot control your emotions and be able to deal with knowing that your mate is engaging sexually with another person. So if you know deep down in your heart you can't deal with it, don't even open that door.
Right. Some of the reality shows that are coming up deal with plural relationships, plural marriages, and all of that. Do you see that for yourself?
Yeah. Well, plural marriages legal marriages is illegal in the United States. But, I already feel like that, it ain't no feel like it. He is married to multiple women. I don't foresee me engaging with no other man. It's not a desire of mine.
Right. But do you see yourself possibly being on a reality show? Because you're so open and honest and you transcend a whole different message from what you see on the reality shows. And I'm a Sunday night reality junkie.
Yeah, I could see it, but it would have to be unscripted. Just like we actually filmed the A-series reality show for Lifetime. It just never got aired. We got paid to do it, but it was never aired because of a situation that happened with Charlie Baltimore and one of the wife-in-laws. And, it was just too much legalities behind everything. So they decided to shelf the show instead of
right, but think of how ahead of your time that show would have been. You know what I mean?
It would have. Their ratings would have been through the roof because it was. Stuff happened just in natural life. Like it was
Right.
nothing was scripted and stuff was just happening so crazy. Even the producers and stuff that was filming it was like, y'all life is crazy. Like this is insane. Like you can't even write stuff like this. But that's just how we were.
Right. That's just how you all roll. So that's awesome. That's awesome. I can't think of anything else that our listeners would want to know, but is there anything else that you want them to know? Because you've given us a lot of tea, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I need a little sugar in it. Woo.
No, that's it. I just be honest with yourself. And if you are honest with yourself and you feel like you can be in an open marriage, you know, just understand that you need to be honest all the way around. So you can't pick and choose like, okay, I'm gonna tell my girl about this girl and not tell her about that one. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm gonna have an open marriage, but I got stipulations on it. Like it can't be like that. It gotta be open, honest, understanding. And if it's an issue, you should be able to be open and honest and express that with your mate. And y'all should be able to come together with some type of conclusion.
A plan. So what happens though when you missing him? It's the middle of the night. You hadn't seen him in however long, and you like, I want you here with me. Is that I'm here with you the next day, or how does that look?
Sometimes it is I'm here with you the next day. Like yesterday, I can give you a prime example. I text him like, I'm having a really bad day. I miss you. And, you know, his text back was, babe, I see you in less than 24 hours.
Oh, so that was sweet. That was sweet. All right. Well, you took us into a deep dive on what a plural marriage looks like. As promised, Akia and I took a deep dive into open marriage, wife-in-laws, and the very unique nuances of traditional relationships. You have to grab a copy of Akia's book, Beyond Love. I promise you will need help picking your jaw up off the ground, and you won't want to put it down. And you may need a few shots after you read it. Akia, tell us where to find you.
To purchase my book, you can find me at www.akiabrown.com. That's AKIABROWN. On social media platforms, I can be found at BMB Wifey on all social media platforms.
Okay. Also, before we go, I want to present you with our sugar box. Me and my co-author, Travion Davenport, authored the book, Sugar Mama, which should be a New York Times bestseller. It's on its way. We also, in your sugar box, have a few of the custom items for you. A mask. We have a hand-painted wine glass that says Sugar Mama. And you got your own Lalanii Jennings on the front. And we've got a bookmark for you. So,
okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll be getting that to you in the mail. And we enjoyed you on this wild card segment. I hope to have you back one day in studio so people can call in and just wear you out with the questions.
Well, definitely. I'd love to come down there and get some of that Dallas heat anyway.
Right? You know we have it. That concludes this episode of Big Texas Bossin. I hope you all got the tea and really enjoyed it. You can follow us on all of our social medias at Big Texas Bossin, BOSSIN, and follow us on our website, www.bigtexasbossin.com. Y'all come back now.